freezing cold nerdlings trying to listen to me on your iPod Touch. You can't, can you? Because you can't connect to the internet, because it doesn't work properly. You sad geeks. Can you imagine queuing overnight for a gadget that will become obsolete the moment you take it out the box? Never be an early adopter. I made that mistake with my high-def TV. It's about the size of a tennis court and cost the same amount as the gross national product of an African nation. Massive. In 6 months' time, you'll be given away free with 10 gallons of petrol. But I had to have it. I want it. Like that.
Stop whining.
Exactly. And, I just can't get... To have been swept up by an advertising campaign like that, to leave your home and queue on Regent Street overnight, when just as the weather was turning, to get your hands on what? Have you actually held one of these things in the palm of your hand? They're actually quite unsatisfactory. I know everybody's saying how super fantastic they are, but as a phone, it's just, to me, unless they're advertising with us, in which case it is quite possibly the most fabulous gadget that has ever graced the shelves. But it just is not right for a phone, because it's too wide. And anybody that's got one, or felt one, will know what I mean. It's just, it's too slab-like. In 6 months, or immediately after Christmas, I bet, they will be producing one that is cheaper, has twice the memory, and can get on the internet at 10 times the speed. But they had to have the first one. Dopes. And you're going to be stuck with it for 18 months, which is... Well, on the one hand, you think that that's actually quite awful, that they would force people to have it for 18 months, and you have to rent out a line from only one person. You'd think that the Monopolies Commission would get involved in that. But on the other hand, it serves them... anybody that's daft enough to queue overnight for one of these things, well, they deserve everything they get. It's just silly. It's just a little electric gizmo. I bet it doesn't even come with a plug. Apple things don't, do they? That's the main reason why I haven't bought anything from them. Well, that and I can't figure out how they work. I did buy Apple's, remember the one that, I still think it's one of their best looking products, the computer that had like a half a ball with a metal arm sticking out of it, and the screen. That's a much better looking product than the thing they've got now, which is just a thick screen with nothing else. They've crammed all of the bits that a computer is into a thick screen. You don't have to have a tower or any of that stuff. And it looks like a thick screen, because when you're looking at a computer, you don't notice the tower that's under the desk, do you?
No.
You just notice the thin, gorgeous loveliness of your computer screen.
Yep.
Well, this thing looks, well, it's not very satisfactory. So I think that they've made a boo-boo in that respect. But I was the very first person, practically, in the entire country to buy the one with the half a ball with the thing sticking out of it.
Did you queue up for that?
No. But I thought, like a dope, I thought that is such a lovely-looking object. I've absolutely got to have one, having done Windows, my entire life. And I took it home and I opened the box and I was tremendously excited and taken aback a bit by the information that you have to load all of its guts in yourself. It doesn't come stuck in it.
Oh.
Yeah, they give you CDs, and so like 3 hours later, it's still downloading itself.
So you become a computer programmer?
Yeah. Yeah, you spend all that money, and then you have to make it yourself, like you bought it in IKEA. So I was a bit upset about that. But then when it started going, I thought the first thing that occurred to me was, there's only one button on this mouse. How does that work, then?
Is that?
Yeah, they only have one button.
Infuriating.
Apple mice. Well, I don't know. At that point, I thought, I've got no idea how this will work. Where's the right button on this?
Where's the right click?
Yeah, so I put it back in the box and took it back to the shop. Got my money back. That's my only experience with an Apple product. It was brief and involved a lot of work on my part and absolutely no success whatsoever.
Have you ever queued for anything?
What, you mean queued for something before it went on sale?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Waiting in the queue to be the first, to make sure you get that product, whether it's a piece of art or... Because people queue for the Banksy art stuff, don't they, that's released?
Okay. Look, can we draw a line under this, this whole Banksy thing? And I won't take any argument about this. Banksy is not an artist, he's a cartoonist. If he's an artist, then so's Mac, who does the cartoon on the front page of the Daily Telegraph. In fact, Mac actually makes you laugh. Banksy just makes you go, and that's it. People like with far too much money, like Brad Pitt, will buy it up because they think it will invest them with the scent of cool, and then everybody runs around saying what a great artist he is. He isn't.
Oh.
It's just, he does stencils. I could do that.
Well, do it then.
I don't want to.
Do a little stencil of yourself, you know.
I mean, they're just
radiophones on, headphones on.
They're just cute jokes, really. That's all they are. Like a policeman with a smiley face.
No,
is that
it's
worth?
not.
Is that worth £100?
It's two male policemen kissing. That's quite
All right.
political.
Well, it was a soldier with a smiley face. I'm sure there was a smiley face on somebody in uniform.
Yeah. And a big rat.
Yeah, I mean, they're just small jokes, that's all. He's just a cartoonist. It's just, and eventually, I mean, I know that the art world, it's all smoke and mirrors, much like banking, really, which is the other thing I'd like to talk about later on. This whole thing is that if you actually think what banks are, suddenly the entire basis for our economy looks pretty unstable. I'll talk about that in a minute. I want you to write that down, and we'll come back to that.
Hang on. Oh, I should be making a list anyway. Hang on.
She's using a quill.
Yeah.
That's the loudest pen in the world. Where was I? Oh, yeah, Banksy.
Banks.
Yeah, it's just... all of those young British artists, almost without exception, are rubbish. Chapman Brothers, OK. Ron Merck, the guy with the big face, quite disturbing. He doesn't have a big face, he does a big face. Like a perfect face, but it's about 6 foot wide. And when it's staring at you off the wall, it sort of freaks you out.
Tracy Emin's good, though.
No, she isn't. Then you only said that to annoy me.
I know you really like her.
I took my blood pressure before I came out tonight. You know what it is?
Pretty normal.
It's 159 over 98, something like that.
That doesn't sound good.
If I make it to the end of this show, it'll be a miracle, so don't upset me.
How did you take your own blood pressure?
Well, I've got a machine at home.
I bet you have.
It's very important. It goes up and down like a balloon, my blood pressure. Anyway, today it's stratospherically high for some reason, and I felt a little bit dicky, you know, quite queer all day. So no upsetting me, all right? In fact, I shouldn't be drinking tea. You should be giving me cocoa or...
You should drink what I'm drinking, which is the Rubos, which is the caffeine-free.
Caffeine-free what?
Tea.
What, actual builder's type tea with no caffeine in it?
Well, the way I make it, yeah.
What's the point of that?
Well, do you want me to make you one at 8:30?
Yeah, I want you to make me a cup of tea and put an ambulance on hold.
Okay. There's one outside now.
Is there?
Yeah.
Great. I want you to dial 99 and then just keep the phone in your hand, all right?
But why are you against Banksy? I think he's an artist. I think he's brilliant.
Well, define brilliant in the context of this.
It's interesting. It's stimulating.
Yeah, but then so's Peanuts by Charles M. Schultz, and he's not an artist either.
I absolutely agree. One of the best cartoon strips ever.
Well, not funny, though. I mean, you never actually laughed.
No, but interesting. Observational.
Yeah.
Reflective.
Successful.
Successful.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But Banksy, no, I just don't get it. And Tracy Emin...
fantastic.
See my previous answer, but multiply it by 10. She's just flat-out rubbish. And she's only considered an artist because Saatchi went out and bought a load of her stuff and rubber-stamped the word art on her. If people hadn't gone out and bought it, people would just would think, who's this mad woman with the big boobs? And he told... No.
No!
Exactly. Here, Carol's in Barbados or Bangkok or one of those places that begins with B. She
Birmingham?
never
Seems unlikely.
Never knowingly has gone to Birmingham. No. She never stays in the country for more than about 5 seconds. So she's not on today, but tomorrow, I mean, or Sunday.
Stay tomorrow.
You see what I mean? I'm so completely turned around. I don't even know where I am. Hasn't it this week flown by so very quickly?
Yeah, it has.
And all the leaves are off the trees. Isn't that upsetting?
I was on Hampstead Heath today. They're not all off.
Right. Well, I'm glad you corrected me about that.
Yeah.
It's a very important point to make. Not all of them, but many. We'll give you the exact percentage as we come back. It's 7:15. Here's Travel Now with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. The M1 looks slow if you're heading up towards Luton Airport just now. There's an accident in the...
So what are we doing?
Carol, we're doing, just to finish what I was saying before, Carol's gone to Bangkok or something like that. She has 10 seconds off and she's on a plane to somewhere else. I tried to book a trip to somewhere today and the website just utterly defeated me. Sometimes you go on a company's website and you think, do these people, are they actually interested in making money or not? It was an airline, and I filled out all my information. It said, are you a registered customer? If not, then click proceed, and we'll take all of your details. I click proceed, and the stuff you have to go through. I mean, this is why my blood pressure was up through the roof. Actual blood was seeping out of my pores. And you have to pick your seat. You have to pick your... how much baggage you're going to take. You have to pick whether you're going to take exceptionally strange bits of baggage. You have to pick this, pick that, and if you get any of it wrong, having spent 20 minutes filling out this form, any of it wrong, you have to start all over again.
No.
By which time the prices have changed. I mean, I was close to just dying, right? I thought, I'm going to kill myself, it'll be easier. So I did literally spend half the day trying to book a break and was utterly defeated. I could not... These companies would not let me spend my money with them. I couldn't do it.
Well, why don't you phone somebody and get them to do it?
There's no phone number. I eventually found it buried way in the back of the site. Like they'd stuck it in the back of a wardrobe somewhere with the information that if you call them, it's going to cost you extra.
For the audacity of wanting to speak to them.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, sometimes you just think... and it's particularly websites. You know, the reason that the estate agency in London that everybody hates is so massively successful is because their website is by far the best website, not just that any estate agent has, but perhaps that exists. And it just, every time you look at it, it just keeps getting better. Genius. It doesn't actually take very much effort to do it. All you have to do is get some nerd with pens in his shirt pocket to flap away on his keyboard, and he'll do it for you. It's the others who don't bother. I mean, they can see they're getting creamed by this company on a daily basis, and so they've looked at the site and they look at it and they're going, "Oh, that's nice," and then they don't. Then they do absolutely nothing about it. They just carry on with their. You know, here's a picture of a little house from what looks like 30 yards away. And you click on that, and there's no pictures of inside, and there's no room sizes, and there's no this, there's no that. It's like you go into a shop, and somebody produces a box, and they say, well, there's something in this box. Do you want to buy it? You say, well, what is it? Oh, well, I can't tell you that.
I think that's quite brave to book a plane ticket on the internet without actually speaking to somebody.
Oh, I always do that.
I think that's brave, and I think that's why you were getting that feeling. It was adrenaline pumping of a brave act. That's kind of what...
I've done that many, many times. Right? I usually do it with a site that searches a lot of companies and then comes up with, you know, a vast comparison. Or the orange-coloured people. Easy. This lot, I swear, I mean... I'd be surprised if anybody got on that plane. Nobody can get through the labyrinthine security on their website. It's and I would say their name to name them and shame them, but I can't because they might be in discussions with our, whoever it is buys adverts and sells them. What are they called?
Sales.
Sales. Yeah, that's right. Sales. Isn't that right, Philip?
Yes, I always go to a travel agent or do it on the phone.
Right.
I mean, you know...
Much less stressful.
It is, honest, I find it that way, yes.
Yeah.
Reason I rang, Nick, I was listening today about what's been going on the East Coast with all the flooding and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I found an old newspaper.
I bet you did.
Yeah,
it's your speciality.
Yeah, February the 2nd, 1953, the Daily Sketch and Daily Graphic.
Where did you find that?
Well, it's one of these old newspapers that they used to reprint every month. And can you guess what the headline... Well, I've told you, it's... the headline is 350-mile havoc. Hundreds dead and missing in the biggest sea flood disaster.
Huh. But how did you come upon that paper?
Well, as I say, it was it was a series called Great Newspapers Reprinted. I had it a number of years, 1975, so I've had it a good number of years.
Right, it comes in as a book form, right?
Oh, no,
Something
it was
like
in a sort of it was the newspaper reprinted wrapped round a sort of a paper with,
fish in it.
No. And it was fascinating to look at it, to hearing about what went on today, because back then it stretched the trouble what they had from Grimsby in the north all the way down to Deal.
Yes.
And the main places affected were many that were mentioned today: Yarmouth, Lowestoft, Clacton.
It's a list.
And it stretched right the way up the Thames because of the many people were lost on Canby Island.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And such like and that. But as I say, and they got pictures. There's the Butlins holiday camp at Skegness.
Oh, yes.
It's submerged. And they got the Great Yarmouth Station is underwater. It's really fascinating to look at it, when you hear about today. Well, look at did you watch the TV coverage today of it?
No, not very much, no.
No, I think they were,
Well, nothing actually happened, though, right?
Well, that's right. I think they were well prepared. I think there was flooding, but not, fortunately. They were saying that the wind changed.
Yeah, I think it was not down to being prepared. It was just down to sheer dumb luck.
Yeah. But it says that there was one pub in Poplar in London, the Rose of Denmark. I don't know if it's still there, but they came down in the morning and found that 300 pounds of their stock had been covered in water.
Right.
So I don't know. Well, and it was also, Nick, the first day of branded petrol.
The first day of branded petrol?
Yeah. And it said that, I don't know
what happened before then?
Well, that's right, I was just wondering about that. It doesn't say, it just says that people, it says motorists who filled up their tanks yesterday, the first day of branded petrol, took only small quantities.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, it says they wanted to test each brand
right.
as soon as possible.
Just have a little bit from this garage and a little bit from that garage and see which tastes nicer.
I suppose, what was it, Shell and BP and...
Right.
One big one in the garage reported, we have sold no pool. I don't know what that means. It was the same along Main Road to the north and west. One garage near Croydon has sold out of one premium brand by midday. So, perhaps there was more people with cars in the Croydon area. But, yes, also, funny enough with water, if you wanted a portable bath shower, it would have cost you 21 and 6.
What's a portable bath shower?
Well, I suppose it's the thing, you stick it under the tap, like a sort of a hose.
Like a hose?
Yeah. And stand in the bath and
hose yourself.
And get it all over yourself, yeah. The radio and TV, Nick...
I was going to ask you about that. What's on TV tonight in 1953 at peak time, 8 o'clock?
It's ballet.
Brucey, I bet.
Ballet for beginners.
Ballet?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It was only one channel, and it wasn't called BBC. It was called Vision.
This is news to me.
And at 3 p.m, they had a film on called The Face at the Window.
Yeah, I think that was on today.
5 o'clock.
Turner Classic Movies, yeah.
Children's television. Now, I do remember, what sort of programs they had then. They had a kids' series called Whirligig.
Can you imagine the people weren't moaning that they were bored in those days. Just kick some granny's head in 'cause I'm bored. Yeah. They only had one channel, and the peak programme was about ballet.
Yeah, it was
Can you imagine?
Yeah, 8:15 international commentary, and then at 8:55 ballet for beginners.
Right. See, so there you go, kids. Stop moaning about how little there is to do.
There was a programme on at 9:55 that has become a classic of its kind. It was called Victory at Sea. Have you ever heard of Victory at Sea?
No, I haven't.
It was a 26-part series about the war.
Did we win?
I think we did, Nick.
Oh, good.
And it was, it was an American series, and very, very highly regarded.
Oh, well, they definitely won.
Some of the programmes are still running today. I mean, The Archers was on at 7:15.
And from that day to this, nothing's happened. Hey, listen, Philip, the news is coming up. We'll find out what's happened today. Thanks a lot.
Okay, Nick.
Cheers, ta-da. This is LBC. I'm Nick Abbott. Be back after the new news. London. Go on, say it. 0845, she says, 6060973.
Right.
As I was, you're going to have to remind me of all the things that I start and don't finish, okay, because there's going to be a lot of them. I have a condition. But Carol is still away. She's going to be in Bangkok, and so on Sunday, Mark Dolan and Katie Brethwick will be filling in for Carol.
Oh, right, right, yeah.
When a mouth as big as Carol's leaves, it needs 2 people to fill in for her.
What?
Here is Banstead. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello, Nick.
Charlotte.
There's an article in the paper I saw a few weeks ago, and it stuck in my mind. You were talking about poppies.
Poppies?
Poppy Day, yes,
Yeah.
and soldiers and the fighting in Iraq. It was about some soldiers, regiment of soldiers come back from Afghanistan, and they're all walking proudly through the road, and there's only one person came out to see them.
Yeah.
And I felt so sorry for them, because they're all proudly marching along the road, and one person came out to greet them. I thought it was terrible.
Well, yes, and
because they're out fighting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the Sun had this, they've got a campaign to, for us to treat our boys and girls better, quite right too.
Yeah, it was in some time ago, but it was sort of stuck in my mind.
Yeah,
I thought, how sorry that is.
I quite agree with you. But there's 2 sides to that. First of all, I don't think that the people that were doing the marching really wanted to be there. Because it's not in our tradition, is it? It's more of an American tradition, the homecoming parade and all that sort of thing. We don't really do that. We don't like to make a fuss. And so I read a report at the time of the people in the army who were on that march, and I think that they didn't really, they weren't that bothered about marching in themselves.
In the first place.
And I think that, I mean, how are you going to get the word out for that sort of thing? It's, I mean, you're going to put posters all over town?
It just felt so lonely, just one person proudly marching down the road.
Right. But I also think that the photographer made certain that he got the picture that he was after, which was for them to be marching and no one to be there. I mean,
nobody to see them.
And the person that was in the photograph labelled as a spectator, I don't think was a spectator. He was just walking down the street.
Yeah.
Which was a little more pathetic that only one person shows up, that no one shows up.
No, and they all seem so proudly, marching.
Well, you've got to look proud when you're marching, haven't you? It's part of marching.
Well, I suppose they thought they'd done something good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably felt really let down.
Yes. So you're going to be in front of your television at 11 o'clock on Sunday?
Oh, yes. I like to watch the Remembrance thing on Saturday. I always watch that.
Yeah, me too. Because I know that there's just silence, but I like to watch the
Actually,
silence.
I'm trying to get a poppy, but I can't find any.
Oh, come off it. They're everywhere.
I can't see any.
Huh.
No.
I
usually do buy my poppies.
Leave your flat. They're out there.
Yeah, well, I've been sick, actually, the last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah, you, me, and everyone I know.
I haven't been out very much.
All right, well, echinacea, Charlotte, that doesn't work, but give it a go anyway, all right.
Okay.
Cheers, my dear.
Bye.
About the Ministry of Defence, barely a day goes by without some shocking statistic about the amount of money that they're not spending on the equipment that would save lives over there, and this was in the Paul Rutledge column in the Rutledge or Routledge? Routledge? Anyway, his column in the Mirror, yeah. He says, we will feed them on the beaches, we will feed them in the fields, we will give them cocktails in the streets, and we will take them to fine restaurants in the hills, but we will never surrender our right to spend taxpayers' money on expensive entertainment. So would Churchill's famous wartime speech sound as rewritten today by top brass. General Sir Richard Dannant, Chief of the General Staff, who is always moaning that the Army doesn't have enough money, spent, guess how much on entertainment over the last 2 years? That's right, £22,378. Lunch with his French Oppo was the most expensive, coming in at £849.63. Lunch for 2. On our money, by the way, don't forget that. I don't know whether that included a tip or not, says Paul Routledge. My tip is, eat at home next time. Lunch with the Swedish top general cost a mere £559, but £125 of that was drink.
What are they eating for that price?
Where are they eating is, what's the point. £125 on drink. I mean, if it was a business lunch, which you'd hope it would be, I mean, they're not going out with each other, are they? So they're talking business. How can you spend £125 on booze on a business lunch? I mean, that went out when Fleet Street stopped its existence. Still, the MOD, which spent £10 million on entertainment in the same period, says, I'll read that again in case you've been stunned by the price of lunch. The Ministry of Defence spent £10 million on entertainment in 2 years. This is the same people that sent teenagers to war with boots that melt in the sand, with rifles that get jammed by sand, with radios that don't work, so they had to use their mobile phones, with vehicles that had all the armour plating characteristics of tin foil. Am I missing anything here? With food that was so inedible that they were swapping ammunition with the Americans just to eat properly. With too little ammunition, they were actually running out and having to ration it.
And they didn't have guns, some of them, did they?
Just amazing. And they have to actually buy their own kit.
But you've got to keep the top brass happy, Nick.
They have to buy their own kit, and now they're making them pay for their insurance so that they'll get paid a relatively decent amount, and, well, a not embarrassingly small amount, when they get their limbs blown off. They have to pay for that out of their, I don't know, what is it, 10 grand a year? Something like that.
They've saved that money on the council tax. They were given that, weren't they?
The MOD, which spent £10 million on entertainment in the last 2 years, says it's all in a good cause. Quotes, helping to maintain a coordinated approach to international security issues.
What?
Exactly. What on earth does that mean? £10 million on lunch.
On a jolly.
The Ministry of Defence spent on itself. You know, there's a programme on TV called Commando. Have you been watching that?
No.
Oh, yeah, you're one of these freaks who doesn't watch television.
I watch Trawler Men.
What's that?
Well, I tell you this every time we work together. It's the big ship. The guys who fish in the North Sea.
Oh, yeah.
And they're on these massive ships with the big nets, and they're kind of crashing in waves that are bigger than houses.
Right.
I'm working in that condition.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
Very much so, yeah. Smelly, but
Dirty.
dangerous. Fabulously well paid, of course.
What's Commando, then?
Commando, it's taking the training procedure of a commando and running through it in like a first-person account, and then going to Afghanistan. And I have limitless oh, blimey, my brain stopped. Limitless
I didn't understand the first bit, actually. Is it...
I'm stuck on a word. Go on.
What's it about?
Recruits. Taking recruits
okay.
and taking them through army training.
Yeah.
Now, this sort of thing has been done before, but usually it's just an excuse to see kids getting shouted at, right, and embarrassed and made to stand out in the rain with their arms out by their sides.
Are they real army people?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They're actually commandos, you know, the elite.
Okay.
It's very, very good. And I have limitless, and here I'm stuck at that word again. It's when you have no end of, you're impressed, no end. I have,
Respect?
Yeah, well, no, but that'll do. Yeah, it's along those lines. Yes, respect. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. But the way that they're treated is just an absolute flat-out national disgrace. The way they have to live, the accommodation that they have, bears absolutely no relation to the accommodation that the officers have. It's all a class thing. It's still driven by class. Well, this country is. I mean, I know we like to think that we've gotten over that, but it isn't. I stayed in an officers' mess once. Has a somewhat embarrassed student in at my university. I had a long course, such that you could take a 6-month period during the summertime instead of just, you know, hanging out and getting drunk a lot. You had to go out and do work experience. And the first one that I did was with the RAF. And I stayed in an officer's mess, RAF Upward. It's probably executive homes now. We know those ones with tiny little windows and no cupboards, a living room that looks like a corridor. But the officer's mess was just, and this was on a deserted base. It was non-operational at the time, but there were a few management types who were working in the psychology unit of this RAF place, and they, of course, had to be put up in the officer's mess because, you know, they were management. And I actually had a butler. Me, like a 19-year-old, had a 60-year-old guy who was waking me up in the morning with a cup of tea and shining my shoes and pressing my shirts, calling me sir. Very embarrassing. But they had a full staff for about 6 people living in this place. No end of space and anything you wanted. Tea in the afternoon and, you know, choice of meals, everything subsidised. If you were a grunt, on the other hand, you were living in a tent or a cardboard box in the middle of the road, which you had to get up in the morning and lick clean, wet tongue. 7:45. Travel now with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. And if you're heading onto the M25, there's...
0845 6060 973.
Well, let's get back to it.
Trixie.
Hello.
Hey, Trixie.
Hi. Can I just say to Charlotte? Hi, Charlotte.
Hey, Charlotte.
Hi, Charlotte. I'm sorry you've been feeling unwell. If you want to get a poppy, they're usually on sale outside the large supermarkets.
Yeah, I've seen them everywhere this year.
Yes, I get mine outside my local Sainsbury's.
Right.
In fact, I know them quite well, actually, each year. You know, I always make sure I get one. First of all, like, I keep it because I get very sort of, feel very guilty otherwise if I don't.
Yeah, quite right, yeah.
Very, very guilty.
Now that somebody's pointed out that, well, I don't know if this is true, but they said it, and it sort of makes sense, that the leaf is supposed to point to 11. Is that right?
Yes,
11 o'clock? Well, how come some dopes on BBC News are still pointing it down, like, wherever it is?
Oh, dear, I don't know. Well, when the gentleman pinned it on me, he pinned it on my right-hand side, and he pinned it again with the leaf facing towards 11.
But
yes,
isn't that invading your space a bit? Can't you pin it on yourself?
Because my hands were full.
Right.
It was a little difficult.
Right. Don't you have a little I thought they went in
anyway,
buttonholes.
have you tried to pin? Because they use proper pins.
Yeah.
Have you tried to pin one of those on yourself?
Well, no, I can't imagine such a thing. You bend the pin over the thick plastic stalk.
Yes, there is a technique, which is why I let them do it.
Right.
But usually I find a safety pin and...
Yeah, you wouldn't think that they'd allow you to come within a mile of anybody with a sharp object like that.
No, I get a bit worried because I've got the cat, and
Health and safety.
Last year the pin dropped out, and I was going all over the place looking for it.
Yes.
Worried she might lick it up or something, you know.
A dog might. Cats aren't that stupid.
Ah, you don't know what my cat's like.
Oh, right.
She licks the cushion she's on because she likes the taste of it. You know, she might do anything.
Cats do that. I'm not sure it's the taste that they like. Are they maybe... Why do they do that? Is it cleaning their tongue or something?
I'm not sure. I think possibly they get nutrition from the oil in the fur.
Well, I know they lick people, and I'm sure they're not doing it as...
Right,
as a
yes.
thank you. I'm sure they're doing it in order to please themselves in some way.
Well, okay. My cat has taken to coming up to me about 3 or 4 times a day to be, pleasured. She likes, you know how cats like to have their...
Oh, I hope I don't know where this is going.
I'm not going to do it. just in front of the tail. They love being rubbed just there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you know, if you go further back, that's obviously going to be mating, isn't it? But they get that there's obviously a nerve just around there, and it gives them a lot of pleasure. And my cat sticks the tongue out furiously, and drools everywhere.
Yes.
And she's taken to now because sometimes when they mate, they can sometimes scratch or bite. But she's taken to sometimes turning her head round and licking her fur furiously, and then licking my arm if it happens to be. That is most peculiar.
Yeah, well, I'm sure because I've seen the cats will lick you, but
yes.
Maybe that's just because they like the salt. I'm sure they're not thanking you for stroking them, because that doesn't sound like a cat kind of thing, does it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously, being owned by a cat, I would have to disagree. I mean, somebody who's owned by a cat, you know, we know that there is an affinity.
Cats are people too.
Well, there you go, just like hairdressers. Oops.
What?
Oh, no, I should
Hairdressers are people too.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Back to the subject. Well, the thing about cats is that well, you know, they get to know you, you get to know them. It's a working relationship.
Yeah.
If I change,
you do whatever they want.
Yeah, if I change
they
my
won't leave.
routine, if I change my routine, it'll take her a while, but she'll fall in with it. Now she's sitting in the small room where I encouraged her to go yesterday, if you remember, because I was hiding from the wind. And now she's sitting on my chair, enjoying the warmth, and I'm in the other room.
But this isn't why you called.
Cold with the computer.
This isn't why you called, though, is it? You called about something else, and then we dived off into cats somehow. I can't remember how we got here.
No, but the thing about your show is it sort of moves, doesn't
Yeah.
it? It's not you're
It's
on
not
hold.
linear. That's what you mean. It just skates off in any direction.
You're listening. You're on hold.
I'm easily blown off course.
Yes, but that's good. So you know, other people are on, and then you think, oh, hang on, that's interesting, and your mind starts working as well. So.
Oh, I can't wait till my mind starts working, Trixie. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, you really have to relax more. Obviously,
I know,
I'm
I
concerned
do.
about your blood pressure.
I tell you what really helps, and I only get this about every 5 or 6 weeks.
Oh dear.
Is having your massage. Are you having your scalp massaged? When you go to the.
That is lovely.
When you go to have your hair done.
Yes.
These days, the person who washes your hair will often throw in a little massage.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
And I tell you what, the tension that builds up in your scalp is just extraordinary. In fact, I'm going to insist on having my scalp massaged on a more regular basis.
I think that's a good idea. Yes.
Yeah.
There is
Much better than actually like a full body massage,
cranial
because
massage.
that's just muscles. But your head, that's mental.
Yeah, but there are people out there, seriously, who know about cranial massage. Perhaps
Right.
somebody will let you know about that. It really is a fabulous form of.
I wonder if you can get that on the NHS.
You might be able to, possibly, or they can refer you somewhere. Sometimes they have, if you belong to a large health practice, they
Right.
will have.
They'll be able to refer me to a lady in King's Cross.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but they may have homeopathic or what is the other word? Alternative therapies working in the same building in certain large practices.
Yeah, hippies. Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean.
Chiropractors, by the way, that's quite interesting. There was something about chiropractors today. I'll get into that in a minute, but
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
running almost
Oh,
past
use
the
me as
ads
a-
now.
you just ping pong things off me. You know, I'll
Exactly.
just,
I'll use you as a wall.
I
and
love
just,
being a wall.
bounce balls off you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Trixie.
All right, you
Cheers,
take
my
care,
dear.
Nick.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
This is LBC.
You.
You ever go to a chiropractor?
Nope.
Being popped and cracked, it's really... It feels great when it's being done, but it's addictive. In fact, addictive isn't quite the right word. It's, once you've had it done, you have to keep going back and getting it done, otherwise you don't feel right anymore. It feels as though there's a weight on top of your head, and it's squashed your spine so that it doesn't flow freely. And because I went to a woman for a really long time when I was living in North London. She was like, I think she was sort of 55 years old, something like that. Looked like a model in a yogurt advert. This was the healthiest looking person you've ever seen in your life. Had hands like steel. I went to a gym and had a weightlifter, like one of these sort of steroidal guys who was the gym massager, and I had like a pain in my back, and they said, "Oh, well, you've got to get this guy." And this gigantic mound of muscle came in, but compared to this 55-year-old woman, she was like he was a skin polisher. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
He didn't really get in there. She, on the other hand, was she was a devil in disguise, because she didn't do it in order that you would enjoy it. She did it to, move your internal organs about like they were in a blender. But this says, visiting a chiropractor for a bad back is a waste of time and money, as spinal manipulation will not cure aches and pains, says a study. Barely a day goes by where one thing that has been established as good for you is now said to be bad for you. Like the sun is, for the longest time, considered to be aging.
Yeah.
Yesterday they came out and said, you've got to go into the sun because it was the fountain of youth.
Yeah, I know.
Researchers looked at the difference in recovery time for lower back pain after a variety of treatments, including painkillers and manipulation. They took 240 volunteers who had visited their GP with lower back pain and gave them anti-inflammatory drugs and spinal manipulation, or a fake treatment. The results showed no difference in recovery times, and in all cases symptoms lasted for about 9 days. Chiropractors can charge between £50 and £90 an hour, and often recommend 6 or more treatments. And once you've been, as I say, you can't stop going, because it feels like the effect wears off in about a week, and you feel like you don't feel like you're moving properly anymore. So you have to go back to the chiropractor. It's a vicious circle. You're stuck in an eddy. 3 in 4 people suffer from lower back pain at some point in their lives. I mean, in most cases, there's no serious underlying condition. It's just like a muscle thing. So chiropractors can pack up their funny collapsible tables and shuffle off into the night, because, according to this, it says they're a complete waste of money. This 100-year-old science of chiropractic is just a waste of time. Next week, of course, they'll say that you absolutely must go or you'll die. That and coffee. Coffee now, which used to be considered bad for you, will now stop you getting cancer. Will you please make up your minds?
On 97.
What the hell happened there? What the hell happened there? What was that?
Was that not your music?
Well, there was this music and the one that you played, so that was two pieces of music at the same time, and my mic was, what, about half a minute late, something like that? I have no control in here. What was going on?
Sorry about that, I thought that was the right bit of music.
Yeah, but
I was playing.
I play it.
Ah, okay.
But where's the mic, though? I mean, I can't talk unless you put my mic up.
Good point. Sorry.
Just a small point.
Sorry.
You were late today, and I feel your pain. The journey that I normally take to get here, you were stuck in traffic, right?
No, it was tubes.
Oh, right.
I was held ransom by London Underground for 30 minutes.
Oh, well, I take it all back. I was going to say I feel your pain from the... without a word of a lie, every single road between where I live and here, every single one has roadworks going on at the moment. A journey which would ordinarily take 15 to 20 minutes, tops, took over an hour, just because there were roadworks on every single road, with the accompanying traffic lights that will only let one lane go this way, and then everyone has to stop, one lane goes that way, and they're the same roadworks that have been there in exactly the same state for, well, as long as I can remember. None of them seem to change. They're all exactly the same. They dig the road up, and they put cones around it, and then what happens? They just walk away. If Ken Livingstone, because presumably it's down to him.
It's all Ken.
If he actually wanted to make a difference, if he wanted to save the planet, because let's face it, the cars that are standing there belching out fumes, which, by the way, are killing us all. This thing came out today about air pollution caused by diesel exhaust fumes is giving us all a heart condition and will kill us through heart attacks. It's clogging up our blood. Sitting in traffic is actually killing us. Not slowly, really, quickly. If you wanted to make a difference, and neither is it really helping the planet. Because if a journey ordinarily takes 15 minutes, and now takes an hour, and so you've got tens of thousands of cars, stationary, belching out fumes, all over London, then... what's the point of putting a windmill on your roof and solar panels in and lagging houses and none of that's going to make any difference until somebody can persuade or order the people that dig up roads to get it done. If you're going to dig up a road, if you're going to take a lane out, then you have to get it back in operation as quickly as possible. Don't just... I mean, they just seem to have such a relaxed attitude about it. They'll dig it up and it'll stay dug up forever. Nobody... and you see the roadwork signs that say, we'll be digging up this road and there will be delays for the next 6 months. Oh my God, just dig it, do it, and then fill it back in again. And there should be some sort of coordinated body that says that if a road from the south to the north is going to be dug up, and there's only really two ways to get from the south to the north, don't dig the other road up at the same time. Wait until the first one is finished and working properly, and then do the other one. But nobody's thinking any of this stuff. The amount of companies that can apply successfully to dig up our roads and then just leave them dug up seems to be countless. There's no end of them. And nobody seems to care. We're actually committing suicide, basically, by allowing this to go on unchecked. Is there nobody that actually is supposed to take control of this? Don't you find that astonishing? I mean, not only is it bad for our health, not only is it bad for the planet, but it's bad for the economy as well. I mean, all of that petrol that's going up, for a start, all of those people that are late, all of these goods that aren't being delivered on time, and so on and so forth. And it would improve people's lives more than anything else that would be easy as that. Just tell people, if you're going to dig up the road, then you have to work 24 hours a day until you get it put back again. Not just show up for 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there and just enough time to pull on your luminous jacket and have a cup of tea, and then they just swan off again. I am just aghast on a daily basis when I drive around.
That's what they do in Japan. They finish it they do it for 24 hours. They do the roadworks until the job is done.
Yes. And
there's people at one end of the roadworks and the other end waving and controlling the traffic. Fantastic.
Right. Yeah, here they'll put up one of those temporary traffic lights, which of course aren't regulated. They're just on a timer of some sort. And so if the lanes where once were two are now one, and people have been stuck in a traffic jam for an hour, then they will run the orange and the red light to get to get past this chicane of roadworks, so that they get stuck. They can't get past the chicane, so the people coming towards you are stuck on your side of the road, so that when your light goes green, you can't go forward because they're still coming this way. And by that method, my cab driver on Monday told me that he spent 4 hours the other day on the King's Road because those traffic lights were unregulated, that an actual human being, or a computer even, had nothing to do with it. It was just, you know, you get a minute green here, and then it's on red for a minute. And because people were just getting frustrated and jumping the light, then it got completely stuck. Nobody could move anywhere, and he sat there for 4 hours. And you think, well, what is this about global warming? I mean, you'd think that would be absolutely the first thing, the most easy thing to tackle, never mind about coming up with a substitute for petrol, or lagging people's homes, or wave power and wind power and any of this other stuff. Just get the roadworks fixed, then we won't be in our cars on the road so long. And it seems blindingly obvious to me, and to everybody else that's stuck there fuming, tapping their fingers on the steering wheel, barely able to believe that this is happening again. But to the people that allow them people to dig up the roads, I don't know, maybe they get to work by helicopter. Or some other method. Or they can walk to work. Or they just don't care. I don't know, but I don't get it. And that it can remain like this for year after year after year, and nobody seems to notice. I mean, I'm thinking, as I'm sitting there, don't the politicians actually use these roads too? Aren't they stuck in the same traffic jams that we are? Don't you think that they would, a light would go off above their brain and think, oh, maybe I should do something about this? They're probably just still drunk from lunch. Sam.
Hello.
Hey, Sam.
You should get an award.
An award?
Moaner of the Year award.
Yes.
Sorry, I just... Every day you're moaning about something.
Well, there's no end of stuff.
Don't dwell on things too much.
Well, when you sat there for hours, it's hard to ignore it, you know. What? Even though I was listening to Paul earlier on, he was. I'm
not moaning. I tried to get on the radio.
Yeah, you are. You're moaning. You're moaning. I'm moaning. I was listening to Paul earlier on. He was talking to Oh, no, I've forgotten what his name is. Mark, the political comic activist.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Anyway, it was very enjoyable. I enjoyed that a lot. Can't remember what his name is. How quickly we forget. Mark Thomas. That's the fella. Yeah, it was very good. Anyway, Sam.
I want to say about low back pain. I hurt my back badly, my low back, when I was hoovering, and I was in so much pain I could barely walk, I could hardly get out of bed. It took me a long time to get out of bed. This is 6 months.
Yeah.
All I did was just took painkillers.
For 6 months?
Yeah. And I just took painkillers, and all I did, the doctor said, just move around, don't stay in bed too much. So in the morning, it was worse in the morning. And then I just carried on doing my housework, going shopping, and it got better and better. You know, you don't need to go to all these expensive chiropractors and this and that.
I don't know, I wouldn't have put up with it for 6 months.
Yeah, I know, but it got better, and then it got what? Then it went away completely.
Right. So what was it? Muscle in spasm.
Yeah, something like that. And the thing is, with aches and pains and arthritis, people were told to stay in bed. Nowadays, they're told to keep moving. That's the way.
Right.
Nowadays, to keep moving.
Use it or lose it. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. You know, you don't need to go to expensive chiropractors and osteopaths and.
I don't know. I would have been tempted after about week 4. 6 months you put up with it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I mean, not the whole day. I mean, I was in pain in the beginning. It wasn't very nice. But you see, you get on with your life, do things. You don't dwell on the pain so much. Do you know what I mean? If you dwell on it too much, then you're gonna feel miserable.
Yeah.
So, and also, I've got another thing. I wanted to say yesterday about the rules. I wanted to say that you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Oh, this is a rules to run your life by.
Yeah, Joni Mitchell song. Do you know it?
You don't know what you got till it's gone.
Big Yellow Taxi.
Oh, the Big Yellow Taxi. Yeah.
That's a good one I like. And the other one, Make Tea, Not War. Make Tea.
Make tea.
Yeah.
Not war. Tea. Okay. That's the PG version. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sam.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers. Here's Crystal Palace. Hello, Mick.
Hello, Nick.
Mick.
Silence there for the old Mickey.
You're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey.
Thank you, Nick. I'd like to add something constructive to what we're talking about here with the roadworks, which would be more than what they're doing on the roads.
Yes.
You're so right, and I had it today. Somebody said to me, you know, traffic chaos there in Fulham Palace Road, and somebody said, "What is it, roadworks?" I said that wouldn't be so bad because it means somebody would actually be working.
Yeah, Fulham Palace. I tell you what, there's only 2 ways to get to the north of town from the southwest: Fulham Palace Road and the road that goes eventually into Holland Park Road, whatever that's called, through Earl's Court. Yeah. Both of which are almost entirely closed by roadworks. The only 2 methods of getting to from southwest of London to the west and the north. They're both closed. They're both impassable.
Yeah, and you never, like I say, you don't see people working on them.
No.
And you're right, there should be. You shouldn't take longer than, say, 24 hours or 48 hours to do. And tunnels, they're another thing. Oh, my God. There's hardly a day that goes by when one tunnel or the other isn't having work done on it. And we're renowned for our tunnels.
It's just... You just think... that the people that are in charge of this must use these roads too. Yeah. Why aren't they doing something about it? I mean, to just improve their own lives apart from anything else. Here, I'll tell you what, I'm past a travel break, coincidentally. But thanks a lot, Mick.
All right.
All right, it's 8:17. Here is travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. I'm going to try and stay clear of road.
Back to it.
Blue Peter is in trouble again. Blue Peter was plunged into a new scandal last night after it admitted 2 competition winners were played by child actors. They've done it again. The BBC One's children's favourite. Is it still a favourite? Isn't it on almost every day now? And it used to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays and maintained some quality because of it. But then, like a soap, they've stuck it on almost on a daily basis. And, of course, they don't have any ideas to fill up the time anymore, so they just get well, I'm no expert on it, but I know somebody who used to work on children's television, and they just get in people who are selling products like bands and so on, just to fill up time. And the BBC One Children's Favourite enlisted the kids because it needed to pad out the item. It follows 2 other Blue Peter scandals in which bosses changed the results of a vote to name the show's cat and asked a visitor to pretend to be a competition winner. In the latest incident, children applied to go to the show studios in the West End and quiz Dead Ringers actor John Culshaw. Who's that?
Impressionist.
All right, 6 kids were picked, but one boy of 13 realised that 2 of the others were from a drama agency and had not entered the contest. He said, 2 of them said, we're from an agency and we haven't thought of a question yet. A Blue Peter spokesman last night said, oh no, it's not. Pretty much. He said they're going to be sent on a BBC Trust course. An organisation like that would have to send people on a trust course. Well, to learn what? Don't lie. Why would you need to go on a course? And I bet it would be a course in a 5-star hotel out in the countryside. Well, for management it will be. All expenses paid by us. I know somebody who works in children's television, and they say that, is that Gary from the M4 still?
Yeah, he wants to talk to you.
Again?
Have you spoken to him already?
I thought that was the chap that I was just talking to, wasn't it? Gary. Oh, no, it was Mick, wasn't it? Gary.
Hello?
Hey, Gary.
How you doing?
I'm all right, thanks.
Yeah. I listened to you there about talking about London roads. I've been a courier there for about sort of 8 years, and it is getting worse and worse. But one of the things why it is getting worse as well is if you look at sort of, I would say up to maybe 6 to 7 out of every 10 cars have got sat nav.
Yeah.
And I know the roadworks are terrible, of course, absolutely abysmal. But the sat navs do take everybody in the quickest route. And these people who knew routes before are going with the sat-nav, and everybody is going the same way as well.
Yeah, I thought that too.
It's so bad, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The sat-nav, everyone should just go back to the normal routes, use the map book, and I think it will help, I really do.
Yeah, that's a good point, Gary. All right, thanks a lot, mate.
No problem, cheers.
Cheers, ta-da. With sat-navs, everybody is going on the same route. I'd thought about that. They're going to have to... Oh, this is... it's more like early adopters with this as well, as the same as the people with the iPhones. And early adopters always get it in the neck. Presumably, the next wave of sat-navs will be able to think this through and determine whether, what would actually be the quickest way to get somewhere. But I'm sure that there will be something about that that will prevent people from from sticking rat runs in there, because the council would be complaining that sat-navs are sending a lot of cars down roads that ordinarily that only had black cabs, because those are the people that know these things, right?
Maybe you'll be able to get ones that have, like, different tariffs, so you can pay more if the machine is more intelligent, and it'll give you little sly routes if you pay them an extra tenner a month.
Right. Only roads that are wide enough for Bentleys.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, Blue Peter. Yeah, I know somebody who works in children's television, and they say that, surprisingly, well, maybe it isn't surprising, that nobody who works in children's television actually has children. They're all either gay men or childless women. And he said further than that, they all hate children.
Oh.
Maybe that's an indication why children's TV is so spectacularly bad.
Shaun the Sheep's all right, though.
Is that a child? Is that actually I know it goes out in children's TV time, but it's made by the same people who do the Wallace and Gromit stuff. Yeah, so it's sort of kind of adult, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's just too short to put on adults' television. Isn't it like 5 minutes or something? It's very good. There was in one episode there was a bit of drum and bass in it, which I thought was fantastic.
Really?
I couldn't believe it. They were grooving, doing it. Groovy. Yes. Here are the topics that I've got in today. Talk about a slow night on the phones.
Can I ask you something?
I tell you what, I can't do a monologue for the next hour and a half.
Well, can I ask you something very shallow?
Yes.
You know the Fonz?
I do know the Fonz.
He's about 100 years old now.
Yeah.
And do you remember a guy who played a character called Starsky in Starsky and Hutch?
Well, which one was that?
The good-looking one. Actually, they were both good-looking, weren't
Yeah,
they?
like I said, which one was that?
Michael Glazier. Glazier.
Yeah, Michael Glazier and...
The dark-haired fella with curly hair. The one with the big cardigan.
Because as is the case with these buddy things, one's got dark hair and one's got blonde hair. Yeah.
Both in their 60s now.
Are they?
And they're both in panto.
I don't think they'd need the money. I mean, those programmes are on constant repeat in America, aren't they? Happy Days and Starsky and Hutch. They're never off the screen.
And they'll be on repeat fees, won't they, in those days?
You would think, yeah. They're in panto here. They've got a taste for camping it up. What are they doing?
I think they're both... well, it looks like one's a pirate. Well, the Fonz looks like he's a pirate. I think he's probably the baddie. And Starsky looks very kind of transvestite-like, but is playing a kind of devil-type character.
Well, the pirate would be Captain Hook, right?
Very good.
And
could be.
But a transvestite devil?
Yeah.
What panto would that be?
I don't know.
Widow Twanky, surely?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
But not a devil, though. Right, where are they? Wimbledon, Bournemouth...
Woking?
Woking?
Yeah.
Woking? Woking has a theatre. Well done.
And Bromley, the other fella, is in.
Well, that's not very glamorous, is it? You'd think there'd be... I don't know. Does the West End have pantos?
I think they do.
Right. I mean, these people are big stars.
I know. But if you had to choose, it's your last day on Earth, right?
And I've got to go to the panto.
And you've got... or you'll die, right? Who would you choose to go and see out of those two?
Right. But I'm going to die anyway, though, yeah?
I know, but that's kind of your last night's entertainment, so it's got to be good.
Well, there's nothing on TV?
No.
Right, then all the restaurants are shut.
Yeah.
I've got no books, magazines, papers, crosswords are all done. And I've got to choose between the Fonz and, Paul Michael Glazer. He's the one who wore the cardigan, right?
That's him.
It's the same cardigan throughout the entire show, isn't it? That must have honked. I would say the Fonz, because you would think that he would have more of a ready sense of humour, because his entire character was a joke, really, wasn't it? His entire character was based on, apparently, the point at the beginning where he combs his hair. That was his audition. He goes to the mirror with a comb to comb his hair, realises it's perfect, and stops right there.
This is LB
4560600973.
It's a good idea to get someone else's opinion.
Sidcup, hello, John.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
All right, thanks.
Very good news that you've got the whole Monday to Friday thing now. I really hope you stay on Saturdays as well, because your show is really, really good. I know you don't like people kissing all that, you know, the bottom.
I'm not staying on Saturdays. I can't do it.
Oh, of course you can. You're doing some real hours. You was always moaning about you was off for 2 or 3 years. Now you're going to do, 3 hours a day. You can easily do it.
But I work 7 days a week, because I work at another place playing...
rock and roll!
At the weekend, so that'd be 8 shows a week.
Yeah, but no one listens to that. Jack the other job in. Anyway, listen to my point. Over the years, you've always gone on about Sopranos, about how good it is, yeah?
Yes.
And it's the best thing on TV. I've never watched a single episode, but from... They actually showed the pilot, you know, the 4 More channel or Plus 4.
Yeah, they're showing them all from the very beginning.
Oh, you know?
Yeah, I've been watching them.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I Sky Plus, last Monday's edition, and I'm going to watch it with my wife, and I'm going to take your recommendation that it's really good. But didn't it go on for like 10 years? And am I going to be watching that for like 10 years?
Well, I was thinking this as the end of the programme came last night. I was thinking, how many of these did they actually make? I think it's something like 6 series. And if there's 24 series, 24 episodes in a series, which is how they came up with the series 24, is they had this a light went off over their heads. Oh, we've got 24. There's 24 hours in a day. Let's do 1 hour per episode. Because in this country, I know we've got 6 episodes to a series, because series are written by one bloke in a damp flat with a typewriter. But in America, it's like an entire crew of people. But if it's 6 times 24, that's 144 episodes.
That's it. See, because I'm very careful. Like, when Hero started, I watched that, and I watched a couple, and then I realised there was a load of episodes, and then whenever they make something really successful and the bucks start flowing, they do another series. They did it with Lost. And I don't want to get caught in that trap where I'm watching...
No, I know what you mean.
A ridiculous amount of TV.
Yes.
Because...
I'm loath to start anything new, really, because I spend most of my life watching television as it is.
Well, I'm sort of like I'm more of a movie buff, but you've always said The Sopranos is the best thing, so I'm prepared to give it a go.
Dude.
And if I watch it, it takes 6 years of my life, I ain't going to hunt you down, and I'm going to blame you. So is it worth me starting from the beginning and watching it? Is it that good?
I think it absolutely is. Also, the benefit of watching it on a daily basis rather than a week and then waiting for like a year in between series is that you'll remember who all these people are, because they don't really get you caught up very much. They just carry on from where they were. You know, most series that are on a weekly basis start with previously on whatever.
God, that drives me mad.
Well, no, it helps me because I've got no memory, so I think, oh yeah, that happened and this happened. But The Sopranos don't do that, and they'll just have a conversation about somebody who hasn't been in the program for a while. And I'm always thinking, who are they talking about?
No, so they do that for people like... I'm always amazed why they spend the first 5 minutes of going over the stuff in the last episode, and normally I've Sky Plus things, I've got 3 on the go, so I just constantly find myself forwarding everything to miss all that stuff, so they do it for you.
Exactly. I don't fast forward through that. I replenish my brain cells by watching that.
Well, I sort of phoned up. I'm going to give it a go. I've not watched the first episode. I thought I'd let your callers, your listeners know that if they want to go brain dead and watch them all as well, because you've hanged on it back so long, because before that, the only thing that really got me hooked, and I'm not ashamed to admit this, my wife and I absolutely loved it, and we're in the middle of watching the last couple of episodes of Series 7, is Friends, because Friends was magnificent.
Friends? Well, it's per... minute.
Especially the first few years was really excellent.
Per
really
minute, it had the largest number of laughs than any programme that's ever been on television. I don't think...
Without a doubt, yeah.
I don't think anything packed as many laughs in as that. Yeah, no, absolutely, Friends. But I've seen all of those. Like, all of them.
So have I, but you can watch them again. That's funny.
Enough.
They really do hold up really well.
I tell you what I've been watching just lately that came and went and people enjoyed it right enough, but it sort of got swept away with the hysteria that surrounded The Office, and that I think is funnier and better written than The Office and better acted is The Royal Family. I mean, I know that everybody appreciated it, but I don't think it got quite the amount of praise that it deserves.
Well, I think it did. It won a lot of... My wife loves it. It won a lot of awards. I don't think I've ever watched a single episode. I just didn't really think it was the sort of thing I would like. I don't think I watched it.
It's more like real life than anything else that I can think of, but which makes it, in my mind, more difficult to write, because it's easy to write, well, if you're a funny person, it's easy to write gags, but to write actual real life, that's really quite hard. And they're showing that again as well. The only things I ever watch these days are things that I know off by heart so well I could virtually speak along with the actors. But,
it's like that sort of running gag you do. Not so much your show. I'm not saying you know when they do the running gag and you watch it 5 or 6 times and you still find it funny and you know what's coming.
That's right.
But it's like a warm glow inside. You quite like it, and I don't know if that's perverse, but
well, no, not at all. I mean, what Laurel and Hardy used to base much of their comedy around you knowing what was about to happen. Their hats would fall off, and you knew they'd pick up the wrong hat, and then there'd be some sort of kerfuffle. And so you could see it coming a mile away, but because it's almost the comedy of anticipation, so you felt, like, as you say, like a warm glow when it actually happened.
It's funny you mention that because I've got a 12-year-old son, and have you ever heard of Will Hay?
Yes.
Do you remember him? Did you like Will Hay?
Well, he's a bit before my time, really, and so I don't have much knowledge of him.
I'm younger than you, but I bought all these. They were on sale years ago for about £3 of DVDs. I bought a lot, and I've got a 12-year-old son. I said, "You've got to watch these." And once he found they were black and white, and he got over that, he absolutely loves them. I'm now trying to get him into. I'm sort of pushing the right way. I want to get him to watch a few Charlie Chaplin films, maybe just the main ones he's famous, like The Kid, and I think is it Modern Times?
Yes.
And Buster Keaton as well. They were when I was a kid. I'm only 36. They were hilarious.
Well, I don't know about Charlie Chaplin. I
No, not
appreciate
so much Charlie Chaplin. Harold Lloyd and Keaton were very good. Charlie Chaplin, I never really... I liked a few of his, but, I mean, he made, like, hundreds, didn't he? Hundreds of films, like, really short ones.
Well, the thing with Charlie Chaplin, it was that the art of it was fantastic. I mean, his physical ability as a comedian was, I could hardly know anybody who could top him.
Well,
but actual laugh-out-loud funny? Not really.
No.
I mean, a great social commentator, my favourite of his is where he plays Hitler, Adolf... He plays Adolf Hinkler or some character like that. Now, that is funny.
I haven't seen that film, but I've seen a picture of it. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay, I'll let you go. I'm going to watch The Sopranos.
Do it.
I'll give it 3 or 4 episodes. If I don't like it, I'm going to come back and I'll blame you.
All right. Cheers, John.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely.
Yeah. London Colney. Hello, Mandy.
Hello, Nick.
Mandy.
How are you?
Oh, you got some, a tune?
Is that it?
Yes.
Oh,
How
okay.
happy you made me, oh Mandy.
Oh, thank you. You make me happy too.
Oh.
But you're not going to be there tomorrow.
No, I can't do it.
Why?
If I feel like I'm feeling now, I'm going to be in hospital tomorrow.
Oh, don't say that. You know what happened with my car? Somebody smashed into the back of it?
Right. You parked it at a supermarket?
Yeah, I told you, blah, blah, blah.
Somebody smashed into the back of it. It was a brand new car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, when came on Wednesday, I think it was, the courtesy car, which has thrown my brain into madness. Because you know I only drive automatic.
And it's a manual?
No, it's both.
Both?
Yeah.
Both?
Yeah.
How can it be both?
It's a Ford Fiesta.
Without mentioning any brand names. Ford
Right.
Fiesta, you say?
Yeah. And it's got no clutch, but it's got a gear stick. My manual, automatic, just goes drive.
Drive and that's it?
Yeah.
Me too. That's the only kind of car I want to drive.
Right, but if you put into... Yeah, you can't...
But you tell that to, most men, and they'll say, oh, well, you got no control.
No,
Control. It's crawling along at 5 miles an hour. What difference does it make? You're not on a track, mate.
No, well, anyway.
I'm with
this
you,
one,
Mandy.
You've got to have your foot on the brake, otherwise it doesn't start. You've got to... The ignition won't work.
Right.
And then you have to move the gear stick into auto,
Yeah.
and then it's automatic.
Right.
It's weird.
So it is automatic?
Yes, but you can also do it by
Override.
moving the gears around.
Right. Well, you
Without
want to give that a
clutch.
go, because the clutch thing is the part that you don't like, is the part that will put you off driving a manual.
No,
right?
I'd probably crash it.
Yeah.
No,
All that
I can't
balance,
do that.
balancing
Not
on
my
the
car.
yeah, the balancing on the clutch thing. Yeah, go on, give it a go.
No!
Well, it's easy if there's no clutch involved, Mandy. It's easy. You just don't throw it into reverse when you're going forwards. That's all.
It's difficult to get into reverse, this thing. I mean, it's a nice car, but I wouldn't have one.
Right.
I like my car
Yeah.
when it's better.
And how much is it going to cost?
I don't know. 75 quid excess, that's all.
Right.
Worth every penny.
Yeah, but then they're going to charge you more next time you come to do your insurance.
No.
I think so.
No.
Yeah, I think so, because you've claimed.
No, I've got a Motability car
Right.
because I'm not well.
Right. So you get a pass in that respect.
No, I haven't got a pass and I wouldn't dare to get one.
No, I mean they give you a you don't get charged more. They'll give you a pass.
Oh, I don't know.
Not an actual pass, not a laminated pass, but they'll
What, a disability pass?
no, they'll I'll use another word instead of pass. They'll give you I'm not doing too well with words tonight, which is a shame really, because that's what I do for a living. They'll skip the extra charge.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, I don't pay the insurance or the tax. The only thing I pay on this car is the petrol.
Right.
And then in 3 years I'll get a new one.
Huh. Oh, I dream of having a new car, Mandy.
Well, you're not ill, thank God.
Oh, well, I think I am, actually.
No, you're not. You're not. I promise you're not.
Right. Have you named your car?
Polly Polo.
See, I knew you were going to say something daft like that.
I just love my car.
Men don't name cars. Back me up on this, Gary.
Definitely not.
No. We refer to them, well, I don't, but a lot of men refer to them as females, yeah.
Yeah, they're always she.
I don't understand that, because a car is not a female.
She goes like a dream, or she's this, they don't ever say he.
I mean, in France, where all nouns are masculine or feminine,
yeah,
a car is a masculine, right?
What's the word?
And that's a question. It's an automobile.
Oh, so it's automobile or la automobile?
Well, it would be L apostrophe, thereby making it uncertain.
Yeah.
So which is it? It must be masculine, right? You'd think so, because a car is, if you think of...
It's not very feminine.
A thrusting, you know, loud...
You can get thrusting women.
Yeah, thrusting, loud, belching machine is male, right? Like, I can understand a boat with its feline curves slicing majestically through the ocean waves. That would be feminine. I get that men call boats for women. Yeah, that's true enough. But cars, that's a man's thing.
You don't see a boat with a man's name on it.
But well, that's true too. But men don't want to name their cars he's, because then that would imply some sort of homosexual thing is going on there.
Oh, really?
And, I'm guessing, really, as to why they call them she. Because they're in a relationship with that thing, and they don't want the thing to be male.
Uh-huh.
What funny individuals men are.
I agree.
We're weird.
When are we going to see you again? Monday?
Yes. I'll be back on Monday, if I get a doctor's note. It says I'm all right. Anyway, Mandy, I'm past a break.
Oh, sorry.
But thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear.
Bye.
All right, ta. 8:46. Here's Trouble Now with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. The M20 now.
I enjoy working with people.
I just worked out the Sopranos schedule, and it's actually quite frightening. I'm kind of hoping that they didn't do 24 episodes in a series, because 24 times 6 series is 144 episodes, which is almost, as near as makes no difference, 30 weeks, which is 7 months of watching The Sopranos every day for 7 months.
Sopranos was shorter seasons, I think.
Really?
The last season was about 13 episodes, I think.
Yeah, that's right. But the ones before?
About 20.
As much as that. So
as much as that.
It's going to be over... It's going to be about a half a year.
And whereas most American shows are like exactly 44 minutes, because that's the American TV hour,
yeah.
Sopranos was random. It was anything up to an hour.
Really?
So, you know, you might have to factor in a bit more time than you thought.
Well, it's a huge undertaking, and I'm going to do it because it's there.
And the death count is high.
Yeah, very, very high, yeah. They started off at... in 4:3, not widescreen, so presumably they didn't throw an enormous amount of money at it to begin with. And if you look at the sets, they all look very, well, set-like. They all are quite bright and well lit, and then as the program goes on, it gets darker and darker, so you can barely make out who's in there, as the nature of the program gets darker and darker. It's fascinating, and bless Channel 4 for starting it up from the very beginning. But the one thing that they do, and I know I've mentioned this before, is that they shout at you about what's coming up next before the program is finished. They put like a sweeper that comes in from the right and takes up about a quarter of the screen before the actual... And this isn't just on the credits, this is before they've stopped speaking during the program itself. And what it says to me is they don't respect the program. It makes the channel look cheap.
The thing that Channel 4 did, you know, when they launched their +1 service recently, I mean, I like Channel 4, but this really annoyed me. The program would start, and this little banner thing would come up at the bottom telling you that the program you just started to watch, you could watch again an hour later on +1.
Right. They've got to stop doing that. It's incredibly annoying. And it is right that it makes what they're showing us look cheap, because they're shouting at us to buy another of their products while we're trying to enjoy the one that we've just essentially bought. And they know that it's wrong, because on some programs they'll back off and leave alone. Like I checked how they did to the very last Sopranos, which ends very dramatically. Don't worry if you haven't seen it. Not going to tell you. And it would have ruined it completely if they had done that usual, hey, coming up next, telephone, like that, which just kills any mood that you're in from having just watched whatever it is you've seen. But they didn't. So the word must have come down from the top, don't stamp all over the end of this programme, because this is really important. So they know that they're doing wrong, they know that they're peeing us off, but they're doing it anyway. And it's not actually getting better, it's getting worse, because this thing where they put banners over a programme before the actual show itself is finished, before the credits run, that's relatively new. And something that I saw on, because the Virgin channel is now available on Sky, and I was watching that thing with Eddie Izzard, which is terrible. But during the, actually, when it was running, not even just at the end, just randomly during the course of the programme, they'd be throwing in adverts for programmes that are coming up, and it's just too much.
Well, if you watch American telly, if you've been to America and you watch, you know, an hour of proper telly with all of the ads and things in, every time they come back from a break and the programme starts, you'll get these little things flipping up at the bottom of the screen saying, next, the all-new Nick Abbott, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's the Americanisation of British television, and it's got to stop. We have to put our foot down. We should start complaining. Oh, I already am. Here's Leighton. Hello, Jean.
Hello, Nick.
Jean.
How are ya?
I'm all right.
So, who's doing your Saturday show then, Nick?
Jim Davis.
Jim Davis. Who's he? I've never heard of him.
He's Jim Davis.
Jim Davis. Oh.
Oh, he's on. We'll be able to tell because he'll be on after I finish, Jean.
Oh. Yeah, about
at 10 o'clock.
Nick.
Yes.
Do you like it?
No, I'm weaning myself off rubbish television.
Oh, so you don't like the X Factor?
Well, I have liked it in the past,
Yeah.
but it takes up too much of my time, so I'm
Yeah.
trying not to watch any of that rubbish anymore.
So you don't know who Beverly is?
No, I've no
and
idea.
all that, and that opera singer.
It's the same thing every series.
Yeah.
It's a lot of mentally ill people being laughed at.
Yeah.
While they're all doing their auditions.
Yeah.
And then it's just sort of weeping sob stories and people who can't sing very well. It's,
You're right,
it's the
Nick.
same thing over and over.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to wean myself off anything that's got to do with reality television.
Really?
I won't watch
Do
the
you
celebrities.
Watch Andy Dick?
Do what?
Andy Dick?
No, I don't.
You didn't watch that either?
No. No, their charms are lost on me, I'm afraid.
What do you like, Nick? What sort of programmes do you like, then?
Well, I'll tell you what, a new thing, and there's precious few new things that I like, apart from that Commandos thing, which I think has been excellent,
Yeah.
is The Nature of Britain, with
Yeah.
Alan Titchmarsh, who's usually a man who makes me want to throw my TV out the window. But, in this respect, he takes a back seat, and the photography is fantastic. I'm a sucker for all those nature programmes. That's what I really like.
I like
about it.
nature programmes.
Anyway, listen, Jean, I've got to go, I'm afraid, because I'm past the break.
Okay, Nick.
All right, cheers, my dear.
Okay, bye.
Ta-ra. You know, there's something like 49 billion cigarettes sold in the world, in this country alone, every year. I think that Jean, by the sound of it, smokes all of them. It's 8:56.
/Doggy.
Woolwich. Hello, Neil.
Oh, hi, how you doing?
I'm all right, thanks.
I think I might have got really confused myself, but you remember you were saying to some person a second ago, you were saying about the boat being female, or which way round did you say it again?
Well, boats are referred to as females. You know, I'm going to take her out for a sail
that's
or whatever it is.
Right. And I think in French it's not female. It's not. I think they call it feline, which I think means like a cat. But
Yeah.
but it's
Feline grace is the sort of thing I was going for.
I'm forgetting my French, but I think it's le bateau.
Le bateau, yeah, I think you're right.
And a car is not. It's a voiture, and I think it's la. I think it is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you thought it was. Or did I get the wrong way around? And now I've confused myself.
No, you're completely right. Yeah, it's le bateau and la voiture. Yeah, but what about automobile? Because that's also French for car, isn't it?
I don't know.
Oh, well.
I've got a French friend, and I'll ask her, and I'll tell you tomorrow.
Okay. Is she from Paris?
Is she from where?
Paris.
No,
Yeah,
she's
Paris, France. not from Paris.
I've seen. I think all of the 24s.
What's that got to do with it?
I don't know, I thought that was the end of that.
Oh, okay. Because
yeah, 24 is awesome, but I haven't seen all the Sopranos.
Right. All right. Well, do your best. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Neil. Cheers. I was just because if she's from Paris, she'd be like, "I'm going to Dieu." Oh, being very funny. Have you got those things that they rub together and go clear? Bzzzt. We might be using those later on. I'll look forward to that. It's practically 9 o'clock, which means that here comes the, what I'm sure will mostly be bad news. Maybe let's hope for a scintilla of good in amongst it, eh?
It's 6060973. Nick Abbott.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Who talks more, men or women? Gary.
Women.
Helen.
Well, we all know it's fellas, don't we?
Well,
chatty, chitty on.
Rubbish. I would have said so. Well, I would have agreed with you, Gary. I mean, that just makes... I mean, all of your life experience to this point tells you that women talk way more than men do. And when I'm on the air here, this is the only time that I actually speak. Well, ordinarily, I don't say a word. But this was in the Standard today. It says, men talk more than women and use more assertive language. Well, okay, that I will accept. According to a study which explodes the myth that females just can't stop talking. Researchers examined studies of more than... Oh, hang on. Oh. It's my sponge with a orangey bit covered in chocolate is backing up on me. Sorry about that. Researchers examined studies of more than 4,380 people and found that men are more likely to dominate a conversation and try to influence listeners. Well, maybe, but that's just men being arses. Doesn't necessarily mean that they talk more. The difference in talkativeness was small, but statistically significant, the researchers at the University of California found. These findings compellingly debunk simplistic stereotypes about gender differences in language use, said social psychologist Campbell Leaper. Yeah, that sounds like the sort of thing a social psychologist would come out with. I mean, what on earth is he saying? These findings compellingly debunk simplistic stereotypes about gender differences in language use. Talk about using 10 words when 3 could do. Men tend to say more than women in certain situations, such as when talking in mixed gender groups or to wives and strangers. No, they don't. I mean, if you're around like a dinner table, for instance, and it's, you know, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, who's doing all the talking?
Men.
That's not true. Women talked more when they were chatting to children, it says. And friends were also more likely to use obliging speech when meeting strangers, if they're women. The notion that the female brain is built to systematically out-talk men is hard to square with the finding that gender differences appear and disappear depending on the interaction context. Men were significantly more talkative than women. Gender differences in talkativeness may reflect a tendency among some men to control the conversation when interacting with women. They said that the reason for the difference is not biological, adding that society's stereotypes were to blame for encouraging different roles and statuses for girls and boys from childhood. The Female Mind, a book published last year, claimed that women get a high out of hearing their own voices. You hear that? A high, no less, out of hearing their own voices. And devote more brain power to chit-chat. So, that seemed to say two different... That seemed to completely contradict itself. On the one hand, men talk more. On the other, women talk more. That's what you get when you ask a social psychologist a question. A load of old gobbledygook. Docklands. Hello, Steve.
Ah, Nick.
Steve.
The Sopranos.
Yes.
I had to do a bit of research because I, like you, was very worried about being told the ending.
Right.
So I had to
Don't say it.
It's very ambiguous anyway.
Well, don't say anything about it.
Can't we discuss how the American audience would have been confused by it?
No, because a lot of people haven't seen it, because a lot of people don't get More 4 or are waiting for it to be on Channel 4.
Channel 4, good God,
yeah.
I was worried about it.
No, and my guarantee to you is that I will never spoil the ending of anything.
And I won't either.
All right.
89 episodes, Nick.
89.
Yeah, if you go to the website, HBO or whoever, 89 episodes, they've all got names.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's not as bad, I suppose.
Well, it's 89, more than 89 hours, and it's worth every minute.
It absolutely is, yeah.
It is.
All right.
And then the only other thing I do know, the piece of trivia, is Ray Liotta turned down the role of Tony Soprano.
Did he?
Yeah. Just imagining what it would be like with him as Tony.
Not as good. Because he's not.
Maybe.
Because I think they're being fat is very much a part of that program, isn't it? And the more it goes on, the more difficult he seems to find breathing, or the more closely mic'd his mouth is, because his breathing, the main character, does take on, does sort of cover most of the silences in that program.
I think that the crux of it is that James Gandolfini, as Tony Soprano, is real. You can relate to him much more than a handsome Hollywood actor.
Yeah, quite right. Yeah.
Yeah, but as I say, they did offer it to him, and he did turn it down.
Huh.
Apparently.
He's been kicking himself ever since.
Possibly, yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Thank you.
Here is Reading. Hello, Stella.
Hello, Nick.
Stella.
Forgive me, I was nervous as a bag of newts here, but...
Oh, that's all right.
Talking TV and social psychology...
Yeah.
Now, I love my telly, but something some weeks ago really affected me, and it was from a very unlikely source, and it's been playing on my mind.
Huh.
And Harry Hill's TV Burp is nominated for a comedy award currently, I think. I don't know which one.
What, is that the thing that's upset you?
I love it. I mean, I like Harry. I think he's a chuckle and a hoot, but whether I'm mad or not, I don't know. I'd like your take on
He's the bloke with the comedy collar.
Yeah, he looks an absolute Burke, but I can't help myself, having a chuckle now and again.
Yeah, well, you've got to have a laugh, ain't you? Yeah.
So, I've been enjoying him, thinking, you look a right twerp, but, what the hell.
Right.
And, but one of his shows made me wonder if he, or an editor, is a bit of a sociopath, and I wondered if anyone else saw it, or if you saw it, or I'd like your take on it, because
well, what happened?
You're always right. It featured an injured man on a stretcher.
Yeah.
And it looked to me as if he was suffering from shell shock, like in a war zone.
Right.
And I couldn't believe what I was looking at. And the joke for us all to enjoy was what a hoot his like repetitive movements were, and we were all meant to have a great old hoot about it. But it looked to me as if he was in agony and he was in shock.
But I haven't actually seen Harry Hill's programme. Isn't it just clips of television programmes and soap operas and so on?
I don't even know if it was that one or his You've Been Maimed or Framed or whatever. But I know I saw it.
You've been maimed.
I didn't complain to anyone because I thought, I can't be right. Is it me or is TV now chock full of sociopaths or people with absolutely no compassion or...
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Those are the people that are making the programmes.
I can't believe it.
Please leave your compassion at the door.
It has sunk so low.
Oh, well, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, don't. And every time I just can't really watch him now, and it's ridiculous because it deprives me of a good chuckle.
Yeah.
But I think that the guy's a doctor, isn't he? I mean, he trained to be a medic.
Really?
I mean, God help us all if...
Harry Hill is a doctor?
Well, I think he was, I think he can actually practice if he wanted to, as far as I know.
Wouldn't that
and
be
he
weird?
gave it all up to the...
Go to see your doctor and that bloke's sitting there.
Because he enjoyed it.
Right.
But that's what worries me. The fact
So was it a clip of a news item? I mean, was it real or was it on...
It was totally incongruous amongst all the other stuff, and there was this guy and his movement, and it made me absolutely sick to my stomach. I'm a bit of a wuss anyway, but...
yeah, well, me too.
I could tell that this guy was in pain. Can you imagine? We
were invited to laugh about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, welcome to television in the modern age.
I don't like it.
Yeah, there's not much to be said for it, you're right.
Turn it off. So there we are.
Well, I can't say one way or the other, because like I say, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, this was some weeks ago, and it's been festering on my little head ever since,
Let it go, Stella.
Thing like that.
Just let it go.
I mean, we're all going nuts, aren't we? If we can watch something like that for entertainment.
Well, like I said, we probably haven't seen anything yet. I mean, what they are dreaming up to throw at these so-called celebrities who are going into the jungle with Ant and Dec will probably make that look like a picnic.
Yeah, I suppose it would do, yeah. Well, I feel better for you know.
Yeah, get it off your chest, exactly.
Get it off my chest.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Stella.
Oh, pleasure.
Cheers, mate, it's all right.
Bye.
Ladybirds. Have you been infested by ladybirds? Not you personally, but...
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that weird? They're just...
I have.
They came out of nowhere. I mean, we've had a little bit last year, a little bit the year before. This year... But you expect them to come out in the summer. But they didn't. They came out in October, didn't they? Just when you thought that the weather was cold enough that they'd all die. They're actually beetles. I didn't know that. I mean, if you're going to get infested by beetles, I suppose one that looks nice is would be the best way to go. But there are billions of them, apparently, and they're not ours. They look different. They look darker. They look more evil. Well, I'll tell you about that. There's a rather disturbing story that was in the mail today, after we come back from this. It's 9:15. Here's Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. And delays on the North Circular Road.
Nick Abbott.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio.
This is the headline. I'll get into this in just a second. It bites, it smells, and it's brought along 1 billion friends. But don't be alarmed. Let's have Henley first. Hello, Felicity.
Hello.
Felicity.
Hello, Nick.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Yeah, okay.
I had a couple of those ladybird things.
A couple?
Yeah, they were dead, but I think they must have flown in and got caught in the window, but they're not quite... They don't look quite the same, do they, as...
They're a bit darker, yeah.
Yeah, but they were dead, they were all right.
More evil looking. They seem to come in and then die. Because if I didn't hoover on a regular basis, I'd have... Well, I wouldn't be able to get in the flat, there'd be so many of them.
You've had an invasion of them, haven't you?
Yes, I have an absolute plague of them, you know.
I had 6.
6? Well, I can trump your 6.
Good. I'll let you do that. I only phoned up really about the boat thing. A guy was talking about, or you were saying something about boats, yachts being called hers or something, or female names.
Yeah.
Well, they were historically referred to as she's.
Right.
Because my father was in the Navy and... A lot of my family are into sailing and yachts and things, and they're always called she's. You refer to a boat as a she.
That's right.
You know, we're taking she out.
Why is that?
I don't really know. I think it's got something to do with, historically, again, when they built boats, yachts, sailing ships, they called them after the women or the wife, the name of the wife after the wife of the captain. So they had a female name, like the Mary Rose, etc. Not all the time, but I think it came from that, and they had the figurehead on the front.
Yes.
So they, because men were away for a very long time at sea, so they gave the yacht, boat, whatever, ship, a female name.
No,
and something to do with good luck as well, something to do that giving a yacht, ship, whatever, female name was a good gesture as you sailed across the sea.
Now, I've been down to Portsmouth and been to the museum down there, and I've read about all of this, but... As with everything else I've learned in my life, I've completely forgotten it.
Yeah.
It's almost pointless me reading anything ever again.
Well, I'd forgotten about it till I heard some bloke talking about it, and I remember, oh yeah, I remember that. Because I remember saying when I was a kid, oh, why do you always call it a she?
Yeah.
And there was a type of a boat that was very popular, I think, in the 70s and 80s called a she. So there you go, a bit of mindless information for you.
Fits right in.
Info.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks a lot, Felicity.
Okay, bye.
Cheers, ta-ra. Here is Burton-on-Trent. Adrian.
Hello, Nick.
Are you back in the country?
Yes, I am.
Oh, right.
And it's cold, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, what time... Because you'd been to Las Vegas was the last place you went. What was the temperature there?
Yes, the last day I was there, it reached 86.
Well, we don't wish to know that.
Well, neither do I now.
Yeah. This is a shock, because the cold snap has come.
Yeah, it's a big shock to your system. Speaking of which, how would you combat jet lag? What is your best advice?
Well, what they say is, I mean, I've got a doctor friend and he takes melatonin, and he says it doesn't really make any difference one way or the other. I think what they say is, And you're fresh out of luck, Adrian, because they say you have to go out into the sunshine straight away in order to in order to reset your body clock. So I'm afraid you're screwed, mate.
Apparently, I think it's... I've just reading about it on the internet. If you travel east, it's worse than travelling west for some reason, because the day's shorter.
Yeah.
Your body adapts to the day being longer at the other end, and it just being shorter.
Right. Yeah, I think that sounds right.
But also, another weird thing I've seen, apparently they've tested on hamsters, and Viagra's good for combating
Oh, I heard that too, yeah. It seems to be the cure of all ills.
Well, it's not easy to get hold of on a Friday night, though.
Every other email I get is offering me Viagra. What are you talking about?
Well, not to charge you super spam filter, surely.
Well, yeah, none of that gets through now. Occasionally I'll go and check the bucket that all of my email gets sent to, and they're still sending me all this stuff. Opportunities to make money by giving my bank details to people in Nigeria, and buying Cialis soft tabs, whatever they are.
Yeah, because I can find when I fired mine up today, it took it about half an hour to filter out all it. Otherwise it's going to explode.
Yeah, and I got a filter for my email because I was getting anything up to, at worst, 100 emails a day offering me just absolute rubbish, and much of them didn't seem to be offering me anything at all. They were just gibberish. But people, why they would send that out? It looks like bits of a bit of a book, just taken out of context and put it in an email. For what possible reason? And I thought, if I go on holiday, if I don't collect my emails for a week, I'll come back next. There could be 1,000 to go through.
That's what I was like. You just wouldn't cope with it, would you?
So I got this free thing, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's the world. It's like the bouncer on the door of a club that no one can get into. No one's name's on the list. No one's getting in.
Yeah, the only time is where it can be a problem is when you've ordered something off the internet, like when you've booked your...
Yeah, and they'll reply with from a place that you haven't already okayed, and then you'll never see it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
so anyway, you came back. You went to New York and Las Vegas. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And what was the best thing you did?
The helicopters take some beating.
Right.
Helicopters the strip. There's no other way to say it. And the old Vegas is quite good as well. The is it Fremont Street.
The old Vegas.
Yeah, it's like the old downtown. You don't walk down there, you get a taxi, because apparently there's gangs and that in the middle of the two. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, like the old Vegas. Like if you see, I don't know, something set in Vegas like in the 60s.
All that stuff's still there, is it? Because I thought, the Fremont and the thing with the cowboy, with the from what I remember of Vegas, the biggest sign in the early days was a large cowboy with a thumb that was on an arm that moved up and down. You remember that?
Yeah, I've seen the cowboy, but his arm didn't move. But that was Fremont Street. It's got there's a screen, the light show, they call it. It's about, this screen is over the top, and it's like 4 football pitches. The size of 4 football pitches, or something ridiculous like that.
What is?
This screen, the Las Vegas light show.
Right, because they have tried to make it into, like a Disneyland for adults. In fact, they tried to make it into Disneyland full stop, because they wanted to make it into a family destination.
Yeah.
And, it didn't really work that well, because you don't go to Las Vegas, and take your kids, because it's full of gambling and drink and hookers. That's why people go to Las Vegas.
I did see quite a few people with pushchairs left. I was there. But, there's another frightening part I had coming back. We did there's only these Stones had done a much bigger world tour than I have coming back, I think. It's like from Vegas to Chicago, then Chicago to Frankfurt, then Frankfurt to Birmingham.
That was presumably the cheapest flight you could get, right?
Yeah, it ain't like
It's a world tour.
For New York and Vegas, it was under 500 quid.
Right, and how much did that cost? I mean, how long did it take?
How long did it take? It's took the best part of a day, because...
You could have got back from Australia.
The first part took about 3.5 hours to Chicago. It's a couple of hours to wait for the next flight. Then,
but, I mean, halfway through, didn't you just want to kill yourself?
Yeah, especially coming back, because I had to sit, like, when you go with somebody and then they just, like, don't sit with them. Because if you want to go to the toilet or move or anything, you're sort of trapped between four
yeah, I hate that, yeah.
It's horrible, isn't it?
And you have to sit there, and once you feel like you need to go to the loo, then you absolutely cannot get that thought out of your mind. Yeah.
No.
But there was a story today. I mean, you think you've had it bad, but not quite as bad as these people. Terrified passengers were stunned when an engine fell off their jet during takeoff.
Great.
That would be quite stunning, actually, wouldn't it?
I can laugh about it now.
Yeah, it would make you put down your complimentary peanuts. The Boeing 737, with 106 passengers, left the ground and kept climbing until the pilot was told to turn back and make an emergency landing. My question was, how can a pilot not be aware that his engine's fallen off? You'd think a little light would come on in the cockpit somewhere. Fire and rescue services cleared the engine from the runway before the plane landed safely in Cape Town. One passenger says, I heard this huge bang, and the man next to me said, that's our engine that's just fallen off. I've never been so scared, he said. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, the far part in Frankfurt back to Birmingham, they couldn't get the plane to start.
Well, they had to get, like, jump leads from another plane, something like that.
No, well, this is, we've got a technical problem.
Yeah.
Obviously, they couldn't start it, so they just, like...
and that's the worst thing that you want to see on the board that's causing the delay, a technical problem. They should just call it something else. We've got, it's been, just tell us it's been delayed. Don't tell us it's a technical problem, because then our minds start to run riot.
Yeah, because...
But anyway, never mind about that, Aid. How much did I win?
I put another $1 in the slot machine and lost a lot.
Oh, well, that's, that wasn't my dollar then. Here, listen, I've got to go. Here comes the news. Cheers, mate.
Okay, mate.
Great.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm super. Thanks for asking. So the iPhone people, they'll have got their little product and they'll have taken it home and excitedly opened the box, started fingering their little thing and realised straight away that fingerprints make it look unlovely. Because I've seen one that somebody has and it's covered in fingerprints and it just looks crappy when it's covered with fingerprints. So that'll be the first disappointment. The second will be, of course, it doesn't work out the box. Like everything that's got a battery in it, you've got to charge it for 16 hours.
Oh, no.
Exactly. So you can't play with it now. You've got to play with it tomorrow. They queued up a day, and they still can't play with it. They didn't think that through. What a bunch of dopes. Really. And I bet the entire queue was men. I bet not one single woman was in that queue, because women aren't that daft. Only men. Friendless, loveless men with no lives. Think that suddenly they'll be popular and happy with some silly little thing that they'll use half of the features in it. I just don't get it. Men are weird. And you're
yourself.
You both are weird.
Yeah. Well, I know I am. So here's the thing in the mail today. It bites, it smells, and it's brought along 1 billion friends. Don't be fooled by appearances. It may look the same delicate insect which has graced our gardens for centuries, but the invader heading north through Britain in huge numbers is anything but innocent. And this is news to me. I don't think it bit, nor did I think it smelled. And I've got so many of them.
Yeah, I think the stuff that comes out of the back end smells.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
And melts through metal.
Like the alien monster. The harlequin ladybird is a poisonous and cannibalistic variety from Asia with the capacity to devour our native species. And it seems to me that every time there is a version of something we already have that comes in from another country, it takes over. I mean, we seem to be a nation of absolute and utter weeds, by and large. The red squirrel, which was a lovely-looking thing. When was the last time you saw one of those? Never, I bet. It's been completely usurped by that icky grey thing that runs around and shags in trees.
I've got 4 of them in my garden.
Right.
They're horrible.
Yeah, they kind of are. Whereas the red squirrel was... Oh.
Cute and lovely.
Yeah, exactly.
There are still some red squirrels in this country.
Are they?
I think there's some in Formby, up north.
Right. Formby?
Formby.
Isn't that where... when I'm cleaning windows... Oh, no, it was George Formby. He didn't come from Formby, or did he?
I don't know.
Is that why they called him George Formby?
Probably.
It is not content to stay in the garden, relishing warmth and often finding its way indoors. And it finds its way indoors through closed doors, where I live. It crawls... I don't know, maybe it has the ability to flatten itself, but it climbs around.
It's a flat-pack ladybird.
Yeah, it climbs... it manages to climb around a closed door.
Well, they're tiny, aren't they?
Well, I suppose so.
And the gaps indoors are quite big, really.
Hundreds of homeowners have reported plagues inside. Worse, it produces a noxious, foul-smelling chemical that can stain furniture. Worse still, its bite can trigger an allergic reaction. They seem to come in, because I'm like south-facing, more or less, like west-facing. So the side of the building gets the heat. They're attracted to the heat, and for some reason in their tiny little beetle brains, that's not sufficient. They want to actually come in, but it seems that as soon as they come in, they die, because on a daily basis there's just like a small pile of them on the inside of all of the windows, which I then find great satisfaction in flicking out, because they flick particularly well, being a sort of self-contained half a ball. You just ping them out, and they do travel quite
Which side do you flick?
Well.
The squashy bit, or...?
Well, you do it like, you remember a game of Tiddlywinks? Where you just with your thumb, and you sort of dig your thumb into the carpet, just underneath it, you flick it up, and they go quite a satisfyingly long distance.
Okay.
So, literally fun for all the family. At around 7 millimetres in diameter, the Harlequin ladybird is considerably bigger and more aggressive than most of our native types. You see what I mean? It's like we are... Not we necessarily, because we are, as humans, as British humans, we are quite successfully aggressive. We're known for our aggression, but all of the animals that surround us, they can be overwhelmed by any foreign invader. Like, there's parrots. Great flock of parrots. Yeah, that live in a tree. No, that's not normal.
They've taken over Hampstead Heath, I think. They're horrible things.
They kind of are. I mean, when you see a flash of bright green in the sky, immediately it looks kind of exotic. But it's the noise that they make. It's just horrible.
Yeah, it is horrible.
I mean, there's no getting around it. It's just not pleasant. They're bigger than most of our native types, such as the 2-spot or the 7-spot, and will breed several times a year. So they're more aggressive, and they have sex more. Like French people. French people aren't more... Well, I guess French people are more aggressive, because in this country we will, to any liberty that's taken away from us by the government, we will shrug our shoulders and accept it. French people pull up paving stones and throw them at police, and then go home for a spot of hot French sex. Us, meanwhile, are, watching television. So, they're taking over. If stocks of aphids run out, it turns to other ladybirds for food. Since the first one was spotted in Britain in 2004, the insect has bred with astonishing ferocity, it says. Some experts believe there are close to 1 billion in the UK, enough to seriously threaten the 46 native varieties. It is already the dominant variety in London and most of the southeast. Its appearance varies hugely, making it hard to detect, but it's usually orange, with 15 to 20 black spots, or black, with either 2 or 4 red or orange spots. Yeah, I've seen those too. They do look evil. Yeah. They normally try to find south-facing mountains over the winter, but of course we're quite short of mountains around these parts. So they make do with pale-coloured, south-facing walls. This is horrible. I had an email from someone who says the entire side of their house is covered.
Oh.
That's just not nice, is it? Because in my youth, you used to think of a ladybird as quite the nicest...
Cute.
Insect. I mean, Woolworths named a brand of clothing for children after it, didn't they? Ladybird clothing. Do they still do that?
And there's ladybird books, isn't there? Oh.
Yeah, exactly. But not so much anymore, because they smell. There's a billion of them, and they eat, and they're cannibals. And they'll kill you if you have an allergic reaction to them. For the first time, we've seen plagues of them in homes. So if you've seen them, you're not alone. That's what that is. Hey, they found another planet.
Really?
Did you read about that? A planetary system that may contain life has been found in orbit around the Sun, around a Sun-like star, 41 light-years from Earth. Isn't that exciting?
No!
No, that's right, it isn't. Do you have any idea how far away 41 light-years is? I'll tell you. It's 240 trillion, 906 billion, 832,000... Oh, wait. I'll start again. 240 billion, 900... No, it's not. It's 240 trillion, 906 billion, 832,298,136 miles. Like, so what? We're never going to get there. Nor will any information get to us from there. The discovery has, though, excited NASA, where astronomer Dr. Jeff told a conference, "It has me jumping out of my socks." He's probably one of those nerds who queued for an iPod. The most significant point of discovery is that it indicates that planets with temperatures similar to Earth and a plentiful supply of liquid water could be common in the universe. Scientists have guessed at this possibility for some years, but it's the first hard evidence. Well, you can't really think that we're completely alone, can you? I mean, we are the only planet in the entire universe that is sufficiently far enough away from the Sun, but not too near that we'd be a giant raging ball of fire. And with a little bit of water, which, surprisingly, is everywhere. So there's got to be more than just us, right? But they're so far away that what's the point in even looking? I mean, they're going to be like, flashing Morse code at us, or 240 trillion miles away.
So how many planets are there now? Is this a new... because there was another one they discovered, or is this the same...
Oh, no, this is not a planet...
planet.
This is not a planet in our solar system.
Okay.
Because if it were, then that would be quite exciting, because we could see it practically with the naked eye. No, this is... oh, I've got no idea. It's just way out there somewhere. They just found something that looks like it might do, maybe, if, and, you know, with luck, fingers crossed, and so on. It doesn't make any difference. They're completely wasting their time. We'll never get there.
But how many planets do we have now? Is that the same as when I was growing up? It's 9, wasn't it?
No, because haven't they said that Pluto's not a planet, it's a rock? Or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But didn't they then find... not that planet you were talking about, so another planet.
Another one that filled in for Pluto's absence.
Yeah.
And you have to think, what is the point of all this? I mean, the amount of money they're spending on this, I mean, I know they're really just propping up their own careers by coming up with all of this stuff. And they, like everybody else, just want to earn a crust. But what's the point? Wouldn't that money be better spent focusing on what's happening here? I mean, because without warp drive, or the ability to go faster than the speed of light, we're never going to get there. 240 trillion miles away, and after looking for... well, we've been looking into the skies for 1,000 years. More. That's the first one they found. Nearest to us, 240 trillion miles away. It's not really good value for money, you wouldn't think, is it?
No, not at all.
No. 9:45. Here's Travel with Alan Joyce.
And just getting details in now of...
Come on, we're running late!
This is a story I've been carrying around for a little while. It's about... yeah, you ever irritated when the people who win the lottery are like the slime of the earth, to put it in an unpleasant way?
No.
Aren't you? It annoys me. Because you know what, that's not some money that's just been magicked out of nowhere. That's your money, that is. I mean, not yours personally.
Well, I don't do it. Do you do it?
I used to, when it first started, I did it on a regular basis. I didn't play the same numbers, because then, if you play the same numbers every week, you can never stop. So I just used to make them up at random. And I won, in about a year, I won £10. So I thought, perhaps this game's not for me. But so many people who should be in prison, and often are.
Some of them are, yeah.
Yeah, for winning the lottery. And I think, well, part of the reason is because doctors, lawyers, people who are already rich, by and large, don't play the lottery. It's people who are in life's last chance saloon, who go and cash their benefit cheque at the post office and then walk to the next window and spend it all on lottery tickets, scratch cards. But this, I mean, that's not an unfair thing to say, is it? It's not controversial, at least.
No.
Do you play the game?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
What, scratch cards?
No, not scratch cards.
The big one?
Just your normal lottery.
You don't want to mess about with the small money. You want to get straight to the big stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of zeros.
Every week?
Yeah, do it online.
Yeah, you're writing with your quill again.
I am. If I played scratch cards, would you think less of me as a person? If you knew that about me, would you think,
Well, I was on a plane to Valencia, and they were bringing around scratch cards. And, of course, they do this spiel, oh, somebody on a plane just last week won £10,000, and so they made me buy one. they mentally forced me into buying one, so I did recently buy a scratch card.
Oh, no.
I didn't win anything. Can you believe that?
A friend of mine did on one of those flights.
Right, well, I don't wish to know that.
Okay.
How much did he win?
Another flight.
Another flight? Well, that's a pretty good prize.
Yeah.
Did he have to pay the tax and all that on top? Right, see, well, that's no prize at all.
Not really.
Most of the cost of flying short haul now on those airlines is tax and so on. In fact, it makes you wonder how they ever make any money. How do they make any money?
Scratch cards.
Oh, yeah, dopes like me buying the scratch cards, yeah. Lotto bosses. I mean, I know this is about a week or so old, but I haven't actually talked about this yet. Lotto bosses scrapped thousands of weather-themed scratch cards after a week because punters were muddled by minus temperatures. Okay, just see if you can try and get your head around.
Say that again.
I'll explain further.
Okay.
Hundreds of players thought they'd scoop the £5,000 prize on a thing called a Cool Cash card. To win, they had to scratch off 4 temperatures lower than one displayed in a panel. Okay, so the panel would say would say like 5 degrees.
Yeah.
And if they scratched off something that said -6 degrees... No, wait.
Yeah, that's still lower.
That's still lower, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I think they're stupid. I can't even explain what they did wrong. Okay, I'll just read it, and then, because an actual professional wrote this, perhaps it will all become clear, all right, rather than go off-piste and try to describe it in my own words. To win, they had to scratch off 4 temperatures lower than one displayed in the panel, but many were confused by figures lower than 0 degrees. Camelot withdrew the game after it was flooded with complaints. A Lotto source said, as the card has a winter theme, the temperature will usually be a cold one, such as -5. Players have not understood that a lower temperature than -5 is, for example, -6. Rather than -4. So they saw 5 and 4 and thought, oh, 4's lower than 5, but didn't go to maths at school and realised that -4 is actually not lower than -5. It's higher. It's actually 1 louder. Cleaner Joanne Downey, 25, of Essex, was convinced she had won. She fumed. And only in tabloid papers do people fume or blast or any of these other words. She fumed. The instructions on the card weren't clear enough. My temperature was 7, but I didn't spot the minus in front of it as it was so small. Well, that's the nature of a minus sign. It's really quite
on
small.
scratch card, yeah.
A Camelot spokesman said the instructions are clear. We are not refunding the cost of anyone buying the card because there is nothing wrong with it. But we will honour genuine winners. Quite right, too. So, for avoidance of doubt, -4 is...
Hotter
is higher than -5. Did I get that one right? That's a tremendous relief to us all.
This is LBC.
BC 97.3.
Oh, that catches me out every single time. It's new on me, and I think as it's happening, must be prepared for the end of it, and I never am. Always caught out. Good grief! I think everyone's gone. They've deserted us. This is the slowest night for phones I've ever... But I remember Ian Lee always used to say that Friday nights were slow for phones, right? Because people are enjoying themselves.
It's outrageous.
Well, it's not outrageous. It's just that I've had to do all the talking. Never mind. It's my own fault for not saying, now we will be only talking about the woman who wanted to get a job in the hairdressers. Then I would have barely said a word, all 3 hours, right? So I shoot myself in the foot.
We'll talk about that on Monday.
No. Did you realise that it is against the law to eat a mince pie on Christmas Day?
No, don't be daft.
Apparently so.
They are pretty horrible, aren't they?
No. Well, that was a chorus of no's. In fact, it was an outraged chorus of no's. It was the worst thing we've heard on this show so far. How dare you say something like that?
Eating a mince pie is like all those crushed little ladybirds. That's horrible.
That's a good point, though, yeah.
Isn't it?
Now I won't be able to think about it any other way. Crushed ladybirds.
Use for them.
So yummy. No, Prince Charles makes some of the very best.
Tucci.
Yeah, I particularly like his stuff. I guess you can say that because it's all for charity, isn't it?
Tucci,
or at least that's what they're saying. You know, apart from the bit that they... I mean, I'm sure they get to taste their own product, right? I mean, I'm sure if Prince Charles wanted some of his own stuff, he wouldn't go down to the shop to buy it. Am I right in thinking that? So, in that sense, he gets his own cut. Is that true enough? I mean, if he gets a lorry load of freebies from something that's for charity, does that not imply that he gets his own... Like, it's all for charity, apart from the cut that Prince Charles takes?
That could be a cost associated with the business, though.
Right. He has to taste his own products for quality. He's just checking the quality, over and over and over again.
To put his little seal on it, maybe, he has to, keep up with the production and make sure it's still as good as when he first tasted them.
Right. For balance, you're saying that, just in case anyone from the palace happens to be listening and takes outrage. Yeah, you can't eat mince pies on Christmas Day. It's illegal.
Who says this?
The law. The full majesty of the law.
Who's going to go round to people's houses on Christmas Day arresting people for that?
Well, because the police are have to meet targets, it would be a very simple target to meet, wouldn't you? You could hit your yearly target on just one day, and you'd probably get paid double time for doing it. Something to think about. In fact, it almost makes you want to join the force. You could hit all of your yearly target in one day, and then you could put your feet up and light up a cigar.
It's not a bad idea.
It is illegal to eat mince pies on Christmas Day in this country. It is also, apparently, against the law to die in the Houses of Parliament.
Oh, I knew that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's... how can that possibly be against the law? What, if you feel like you're dying, they have to drag you outside? It's also illegal to stick a postage stamp upside down. Well, I didn't know that.
You're defacing the monarchy, aren't you?
Well, I'm not defacing her, really.
Well,
you're
you're putting her in an awkward position.
Disrespectful.
Literally putting her in an awkward position. Yeah, that's right. Like she's got gravity boots on. Yeah, which would be an unroyal position to hold.
Because you can't melt down coins either, I think, for the same reason. Because you're defacing the Queen.
Isn't it also illegal to tear money up? Or is that just an American thing? I think in America you can't burn money, or... because it's against God or something. Also, and finally, only a clerk in a tropical fish store can publicly be topless in Liverpool. And Gary is already making plans to go there this very evening. Jim Davis is next.